and welcome to Mind Model Mastery Secrets. I'm Ashley and I'm here with Blair, and we are going to be jumping into AI and the hopelessness that a lot of people are feeling with AI and will AI take over our world and what we can do about that. And so I recently was watching a different podcast with a doctor who works in AI safety, and he was talking about how in the next 5 years, literally, we will have a 99% job loss situation where the world is there. And so I wanted to have this conversation with you, Blair, because mind models are all about getting resourceful and being adaptive. And then also, as a lot of people know that might be tuning in, Blair does a Blair Dunkley Experience every Tuesday. And so on Tuesday this week, he talked about a pivot post and how we can use a pivot post to change the direction that we're going. And in this day and age, I don't think, like, obviously people need that. We pivot a lot in our life, whether it's crises or small things, but I don't think we've ever needed it so much as right now with AI looming. So I would love to hear your thoughts on that.
Absolutely, Ashley. Like, great topic. Yeah, no. On the show last night, I described how we have to stay present. We
Hmm.
have to get grounded in our now. Like literally, I have um, a fence post,
Hmm.
that is in a bunch of cement that I haven't set in there. But it's actually more than just a fence post. It's not a 4x4. It's not a 6x6. It was a beam. It was a 10 by 10 beam that I used because mentally I needed something to hold on to metaphorically in my mind. And my mind kept on undermining myself. And, you know, that was from the reality of a situation that I was in, my dad going into a coma. And the other part of this was when I tried to deal with the issues, I kept on sabotaging myself.
Hmm.
I said, I'm going to draw a line in the sand. Water came off, washed the line in the sand, gone. And this is in my mind. This is what I was visualizing, trying to help myself. Went into the desert, drew another line in the sand, stuck a stick in it.
Yeah.
Wind came up, blew the stick away, washed the line away. Water just, it was me self-sabotaging myself. And I'm going, that's not effective. I need something that's solid, that I know is solid. And so I recall this situation where I was building fences at the time and I needed to anchor this beam, this huge, massive post into the ground, 12-foot post going down, uh, 6 feet, so it could carry a gate
Hmm.
and put in pivot bolts on the gate so I could hang a metal gate off it. Anyway, long story short on that, that was the mental construct I needed to be able to literally create this opportunity in my mind.
Hmm.
And that gave me the ability to start pivoting and seeing life differently from how I saw it. Um, a few weeks after my father went into a coma, actually for 14 years before he passed.
Hmm.
I've used the pivot post, that model, that mind model, a bunch of times in my divorce. And now I was hoping to get married to my girlfriend of 2.5 years. And unfortunately, we broke up. And, you know, less than 3 months later, she's engaged to be married to another guy. So, I mean, again, you can go down the tubes with that, or you can apply the pivot post.
Hmm.
And all of this happening in the construct of AI, taking away jobs, doing all of that kind of stuff. How do we manage? How do we cope? What do we do? How do we see ourselves being able to manage ourselves more effectively and not giving up? And so that's really the key that the pivot post gives us.
Well, and I think the hard part with AI too is it's completely um, unknown. Like there's no way for us to even quantify what AI is going to do. And so there's a whole bunch of people that are waving the red flag of we've gone too far and super intelligence is coming. And we are at the end of our race potentially with superintelligence, and there's a lot of people really concerned. But outside of that, so say our race is safe, there is the job loss, and that is such a big unknown. A lot of people are saying like that's not even possible, that's not even reality. But the people that are working in AI safety, they are saying that it's a 2-year window where our life will look completely different than it does right now, and a 5-year window where 99% of jobs will be replaced with AI, if not more. And so when you're looking at that much of a quick change, that much of an unknown reality that no one's ever experienced before, what would be the first steps, like, of how to navigate? Like for me, for example, the scientist specifically that I was listening to, he was talking about my source of income and my partner's source of income being completely abolished in the next 3 to 4 years. And so it's like, okay, so then what do you do? Where do you go? Where do you live? Like, and all that kind of stuff. So what would you say is like the way to navigate that? Because when we feel lost and without a purpose, I believe that is the fundamental like depression that we experience as a race.
Absolutely true. Well, first of all, um, some of that may be true, but I've been around, like, actually, I'm 70. Like, I've seen this before.
Yeah.
Now, when I was a kid, my dad took me out, drove me in a car downtown and to Edmonton to go to a dairy
Hmm.
to watch the return of the last run of a horse-drawn milk wagon.
Oh.
Like, I mean, when I think about that, it sort of like goes boom in my mind, blows my mind. But I saw that.
Hmm.
So I've been around that long. But again, when we take a look at technological changes,
Yeah.
how long did it take from going horse and buggy to automobile? Do you have any idea?
I don't know.
Yeah.
A lot.
People think that that took, you know, 20, 30 years. It didn't. The vast majority of that transition happened in under 10 years.
Hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Um, Electricity, electrifying. How long did it take to move from candles and, you know, gas lights and all of that into electricity? Again, basically under 10 years.
Hmm.
These kinds of rapid transformations have happened in our lives. And again, the same thing is everybody is going to lose their jobs. Well, yes, sort of, but how many different kinds of jobs are going to be created because of that?
Hmm.
How
Well,
many different sorts of ways of looking at yourself will be available to you?
mhm. Well, that's what they're saying, especially with super intelligence, the AI will replace, like the AI will work for the AI kind of thing. Like even now, I know you and me talked probably like 8 years ago now about how you are working with AI and it didn't work because it didn't understand question concepts. And I remember having that conversation with you probably nearly a decade ago. And now, to my understanding, it does understand question concepts. I don't know if you agree with
It
that or
understands questions.
not.
It partially gets question concepts, but it's getting better with natural language processing,
Yeah.
but it uses a very large language model, LLMs.
Hmm.
And that's fine. That's one way of being able to do it. But in terms of actually breaking it down and understanding thought,
Hmm.
it mimics it pretty well
Yeah.
overall.
Yeah.
But people still need to be understood.
Hmm.
Sometimes AI doesn't, it hallucinates
Yeah.
and it's just all over the map.
Yeah.
Is that getting fixed? Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Is that going to be in place, you know, A few years from now, a few months from now, probably not.
Mhm.
It iterates so fast. It'll figure out problems, it'll figure out things, but there'll be so many different opportunities that we haven't even dreamt up. How come? How come I'm so confident about that? Simply because it's always happened before.
Yeah.
Like everybody goes, well, how long did livery stables last? They went out of business. And all of the horse related culture, went away.
Hmm.
So, in fact, one of the AI things and culture pieces that I've seen is literally about um, you know, what happened to horses. Well, horses wound up being relegated into farms where people who wanted to ride horses had a farm, rode their own horse, did whatever they did. Didn't ride it in the city, but they still rode horses.
Hmm.
You know, the number of horses went down a whole lot, but and it changed.
Yeah.
But this is about change. This isn't about elimination. People are talking about how, you know, people who want to drive cars will go to racetracks
Yeah.
to drive cars,
Yeah.
or places that literally have a driving experience. Because in the next 3 to 5 years, robo taxis, all of that sort of thing, we won't need vehicles the way that we need them now.
Hmm.
So that will change.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm excited for that one.
Yeah, me too, actually. So, I mean, there's lots of things that will be going on that will make our lives both better
Yeah.
and in some cases worse. But I guarantee you, the people who don't adapt and change will have the toughest time.
Hmm. Yeah.
Be-
And so this is kind of not on topic, but this is where it is somewhat more of an elimination situation because like we will take the cars and we'll put them on racetracks and we'll go and have scenic drives or something like that, which I do enjoy driving, so I would be one of those weirdos. But AI can manage that, right? So even for the people that are going to drive the cars, it's not creating a new human job because the AI could do that job. So it's going to open up a different way of driving and a different way of enjoying things that we now have replaced with AI, which will increase, like you said, our quality of life in some ways and then decrease it in others. But it's not replacing human jobs. It is eliminating. Like um, it will be able to self-sustain itself. That's the whole purpose of super intelligence. So
Partially,
yeah,
like we can focus on the horror of it.
yeah.
And it's easy to find out. All we have to do is start saying, it will eliminate this, it'll eliminate that. It probably will.
Hmm.
However, we're not thinking about all the possibilities that it could generate.
Yeah.
So that the counterbalance to that is pretty darn
Hmm.
important.
Yeah.
So I mean, there are so many things that it could do.
Yeah.
But is it worth it to have super intelligence doing all of those things, or are we going to find our own place in the world to be able to take advantage of that super intelligence and utilize it?
Yeah.
Because if super intelligence actually takes over the way that you're stating, if you think that through from an economic point of view, we don't need markets.
No.
We will go through a global economic collapse.
Hmm.
Now, at the end of the day, that also means we can't afford more super intelligent robots
Yes.
because we won't have the money to buy them.
Yeah. And so
And
that was one of the things that the scientist was talking about was that like for like the whole race towards like the nuclear bomb, for example, it's super, super expensive to do that. However, the closer we get to super intelligence, the cheaper and cheaper it gets. And so that
up to a
price,
point
yeah,
where, okay, so let's say we have robots
yeah.
that have um, super intelligence.
Hmm.
The price point of those robots is going to be around, like projected out, to be $20,000,
Yeah.
not beyond the reach of most people
Hmm.
who have jobs.
Yeah.
But if super intelligence has taken all of these jobs that you're claiming in 5 years, and robots need to be up and going and safe and for sale in 5 years, all of a sudden these angles cross, and all of a sudden there is no market.
Hmm.
The only way to sustain that is to keep people employed
Yeah.
somehow.
Yeah.
We don't have the how of it right now.
Yeah.
We never do.
Hmm.
It is always evolving.
Yeah. So for to take a business standpoint of like Blockbuster, how do we make sure we're not the Blockbuster or the Kodak of this situation?
Well, again, it's all about being resilient and adaptable. I
Hmm.
mean, that's really what it comes down to.
Yeah.
So, again, I was sharing my own situation that I'm currently in on the Blair Dunkley Experience, and how my recent breakup, um, I was pretty much devastated.
Hmm.
However, how long did I have to live in that? A few hours, and then to start off with, and then I remembered the pivot post. I started using the pivot post, and then I started recognizing, oh, I can start finding somebody else to
Yeah.
be significant in my life.
Yeah.
And so what I wound up doing is pivoting away from the person I thought I would be having that experience with, towards somebody else, and then actually splitting that up and saying, oh, geez, I guess I have to date a few women, have coffee dates,
Yeah.
just see if there's somebody else out there that I like.
Yeah.
So I can then narrow it back down and invest in one person, my time in one person again.
Hmm.
So that model means that I went in this direction, this direction, this direction, put in posts, pivot posts at the end of each of those, and run it again and again and again till I can rejoin all of those possibilities into a new way of thinking.
Hmm.
Well, again, people need people.
Yeah.
We don't do well with pure isolation and no people.
Yeah. So there's a whole scary world in there of AI people that are fake people and virtual realities and all that kind of stuff where I won't even go down. But what you were saying with your story specifically reminded me of something we were talking about before we started the podcast of how I was talking about a lot of people when it comes time to pivot, they don't want to pivot because of the amount of investment, whether it was financial, emotional, physical,
Uh,
energetical, like that kind of, yeah, time, that was the word I was looking for. They don't want to pivot because they're like, I've invested so much over here. If I pivot, it's all gone, kind of thing. And I think that that is one of the big risks that we have with AI or any other reason that we would have to pivot. Of we hold on to it because we've invested so much. And so I'm curious if you want to kind of my experience, like kind of take my personal life right now through a little bit of a journey, and we can see how it works. But my partner has been a plumber for, let's say, it would be nearly 20 years, so nearly 2 decades.
sure.
And one of the examples that this scientist gave with AI is that we will have AI replace plumbers in the next 5 years. And so for me personally, that is our primary source of income. I run and own a plumbing company. And so I am working at building it. I am working on the marketing end. I am working to getting this company bigger and better. And so, do I keep going in this direction? Does my partner keep going in this direction that he's built the last 2 decades off of? He used to be an instructor at the college. Like this has been his life. And or do we completely pivot into a new career? Or do we become one of the first people to have an AI plumber, you know? So, like, just kind of walking through my personal life experience, how would you help someone navigate that unknown? utilizing mind models.
Well, again, it's about effective versus ineffective.
Hmm.
Are we close? Okay. Are we actually that close to having an AI plumber?
It depends on who you ask. Like when you
I
have,
agree.
yeah.
I just want to go. It depends on who you ask.
Okay,
That is
sounds
the
good.
perfect, exact answer I was hoping you would say.
Okay.
The doom and gloomers will have it be 2 years.
Mhm.
The not like the guys that sort of claim that they're being reasonable with it will say 5 years.
Yeah.
What has happened, you know, for real?
Hmm.
Um, if you take a look at all massive, major type of transitions in society, they tend to take longer than what is claimed initially.
Yeah.
But at some point, if that is driven forward by, economic forces, it will happen eventually.
Hmm.
But during that interim period, the pivoting that goes on, the way that, like, all of a sudden you're looking at a human robot hybrid
Yeah.
business. Great. Completely doable, potentially.
Yeah.
Big word, stressing potentially.
Hmm.
So that's a huge scenario. There are robots that are coming along that can and will take over some of those jobs, but experience can be plugged into a robot very rapidly so it can do what it can do.
Hmm.
There are going to be certain limitations to it that may or may not be a human capacity compatible.
Hmm.
In other words, a human can literally do the job the same or better
Hmm.
than a robot. And in some cases, it'll be better. Now, there's going to need to be a relationship between, the robots and people at some point.
Yeah.
Some people may enjoy that, some may not. We're going to have to see what's there.
Hmm.
But what comes from that? Do you have any idea?
I've personally never experienced it in any capacity, so no, it's just guesses.
Exactly. We don't know. Will some people sort of give up and say doom and gloom and that's it and call that's the end of my attempt, my desire to try and go forward
Hmm.
until they hear what somebody else said that they say, gee, that sounds like fun.
Hmm.
I could try that.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, everything changes. Everything changes in that instance when you get this spark of inspiration and you go, oh, geez, I could do that.
Hmm.
And then everything's different again.
Yeah.
And what's the value proposition? Where can I provide value to other people? Because there's always going to be value in being human,
Hmm.
like always. So that is the thing that is essential in life. So it's just something to consider. Is it doom and gloom, or is it um, all sunshine and roses, or is it more likely to just be somewhere in between, which it always winds up. Everybody predicts the worst or the best.
Yeah.
Always lands in the middle.
Hmm.
Like it's the pendulum of change. People go, it's way over here. No, it's way over here. But it will always find its fair balance.
Hmm. Yeah.
Okay. So
Yeah.
that's where it will always come to.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and I think that's where like how you mentioned like asking like what's working. That's the big key part of this unknown journey is what's working and what might I do because we have no crystal ball, magic 8 ball, none of that kind of stuff. Sadly, some days I'm sure we want it, and some days it probably would bring also doom and gloom. So either way, um, and so by asking those questions, I know you when we started working together, it was the first thing that you really taught me was 3, 2, 1. Three things that worked, two things that didn't, and one thing I might do differently. And that has stuck through and been my biggest game changer in my life the last decade. And it's that simple. And I think that remembering that simplicity and staying present in this very vast unknown place is going to be the easiest way to just get through. And that's where utilizing how to think is probably our biggest asset.
So true. How you think is will be everything. It is everything. It always has been everything, and it will continue to be everything.
Yeah.
So, because how you think determines, like I keep saying, everything.
Yeah. I think that's the most absolutes I've ever heard you say.
Yeah. I mean, seriously,
Yeah.
it doesn't really matter what life throws at you.
Yeah.
I mean, I think Henry Ford said it somewhere along the way. If you think you can, you can. If you think you can't, you can't.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if you just hold to whatever it is that you're thinking
Hmm.
and stay stuck there indefinitely, you
Yeah.
will be stuck there indefinitely.
Yeah.
It's just that simple.
Yeah.
So it's not going to be forever. It's going to be temporary. Like, breaking up with a girlfriend, like I did.
Yeah.
That's sad. It's painful and
Mhm.
it's temporary.
Yeah.
A 33-year marriage comes to an end. That's sad. That's painful, but it opens a door to a new possibility.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
we'll see this evening, actually, going out on a coffee date.
Yeah.
Well, and we'll see.
Yeah. A nice pivot for you.
Yeah, it is a pivot. And
Yeah.
it's literally taking a look at life and saying, how might I move
Yeah.
through this
Hmm.
differently
Yeah.
and be in the present with it? I'm not ignoring the pain, but I don't have to live in it either.
Yeah. Yeah, and like I'll share something too. I haven't even shared this with you because it's so recent in my life. Well, some of it, but we talked too about sometimes the bad things that happen to us give us the opportunity to pivot into something good.
Oh, yeah.
So, for anyone that knows me, they know I'm going through a really high conflict custody battle. And part of the stressor of that is actually my partner's parents, his biological parents. And we've had a lot of issues, a lot of stress, and a lot of not wonderful things happening. And on Friday, he pretended to run me and my daughter off the road, like drive into us to cause a head-on collision. And it was not enjoyable. My daughter having to witness her grandfather do that is very toxic, very potentially traumatizing. And so I was not a happy person. And I shifted, I pivoted it. And I said, this might be the turning point that I need to make all of this end. And it was. He was threatened with criminal harassment and said if he comes near me or my kids again, he would be in handcuffs. And it was that pivot that was a really not great thing that pivoted into something that was um I I've been wanting it to happen for 4 years, 3 years of hoping that there would be some way I could get a protection order, some way I could keep my kids safe, and this was the thing that made it happen. And so sometimes the bad stuff causes us to pivot into a better present and a better future. And
Yeah.
so that's like a really new, real, raw situation that I'm going through. And we have court coming up for our high conflict custody battle in about 2 months. And there's a good chance that he was going to be put on the stand to go against us. It just my gut instinct felt that. And now with this warning of harassment, it will be a hard day for him to get on that stand as a witness against us. Additionally, if he does, the credibility of someone that is willing to act in that way with animosity, his credibility is going to be shot. And so it's like not just one thing that benefited me from this not good situation at all, and it could have ended up worse, but we had lots of things that we were able to pivot and change to be in our favor. So,
Absolutely.
yeah.
And you couldn't predict that that was going to happen until it happened.
Yeah.
But that's life.
Yeah.
That's how these changes happen.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going to happen later today.
Hmm.
Who knows?
Yeah.
But if I don't go and meet this person, I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there you go. It's like life always throws opportunities. But
Mhm.
if you don't take those opportunities, if
Yeah.
you don't go out there and just experience life,
Yeah.
you get caught up in yourself and you're trapped inside of yourself. And you cannot be flexible when you're stuck in a closed loop. You cannot be flexible and adaptable because the flexibility to be adaptable is shut down because it's always a closed loop.
Yeah.
And if we're always looking at the doom and gloom, we can't find the things that go, wow, what if this happens?
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
Like,
sorry.
yeah, go
Yeah.
ahead.
Well, I think that's a great place to really end here with a huge plug to our next episode, really, of the doom and gloom of being stuck in a Y state. And
Yeah.
so, if you want to let our listeners know a little bit about what we're going to be talking about on Tuesday on the Blair Dunkley Experience. So it is 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time Tuesday. I will link the Zoom link so you can actually be live and interactive, and it's really great hands-on learning. So it's more impactful than just listening to me and Blair talk about our thoughts.
Oh, yeah.
And then we'll also do another deep dive next week on that as well. So you can share a little bit and then we can wrap up.
Yep, absolutely. I was going to, some of those posters that I did up on AI, I was wondering if you would mind if I tried to
Yeah, no, that's great.
share one of them.
Yeah. Well, I love that they also kind of remind me of like back in the day with World War One and World War Two, because really when we go into our Y state, that is our biggest battle. Our story is our biggest enemy, and it will literally take you down to live in your story. And
Absolutely.
your why question concept is your story. And there's a lot of really brilliant minds out there like Simon Sinek that talk about like know your why, and it's contrary to what you talk and teach about how to really be able to move forward in a powerful way. And so I think that this is a really important conversation for people. If you've ever felt stuck, depressed, anxious, like any of those negative emotions, really understanding the cage, the jail that your why has you in is huge.
Absolutely. So I'm going to share a couple of screens. Well, actually, I've got them both on one screen here. I'm going to put this one here. So um, hopefully this works for you. And I'm just going to share this. And that's one of them right there.
Awesome. So yeah, so anyone that wants to know more about their why and what's keeping them stuck, and the big thing is it doesn't matter at all what your why is, what your story is, what was in the past. It is completely irrelevant for moving forward to having the future that you desire.
Absolutely. And then there's this one here, and it's the why repellent. And
Yeah.
we're going to be talking about that and getting it how to literally it repels excuses, stops rationalizations, banishes justifications, neutralizes justifications, keeps the why flies away, strong enough for excuses, safe enough for family gatherings.
Yeah.
There you go.
That's
Okay.
awesome. I love it. So
Stop the stories before they start. That's what you'll learn next week on the Blair Dunkley Experience.
yeah. And that's probably the most important topic that you can cover. That is your big expertise. As much as the 3-2-1 was the game changer in my life, it was the game changer of my life because it got me out of my why stories.
Exactly. That's part of the why repellent is the 3-2-1.
Yeah, awesome.
There you go.
Well, I look forward to it, and I can't wait to learn more and keep having these conversations.
Me too. Thanks, Ashley.
Thank you for watching. Continue learning by clicking one of the videos in front of you. Don't forget to subscribe and join our community for deeper dives into mind model mastery secrets. Give a like and leave a comment as we would love to engage with you more.